All right, we want to bring you today's Rising Crisis Update. We'll start where we always start, which is with the numbers here and around the world. So looking at the United States, we are now up to 867,000 recorded cases. That is an addition of 32,000 since yesterday in terms of deaths. We're now up to 44,464. That's an addition of almost 2,000 since yesterday. Still pretty high number there. Around the world, 2.6 million have been reported infected, an addition of 100,000 since yesterday. 184,000 deaths, an addition of 5,000 since yesterday. So we are still looking at a very serious situation here and around the world. And as always, a note of caution that, look at these numbers, we don't know precisely, right? Because of a lack of testing, because of a lack of transparency, et cetera. But it gives you some sense of where the trend is heading.
Yeah, and one of those deaths, sadly, it was the brother of Senator Elizabeth Warren. Her oldest brother, she tweeted this yesterday, Don Reed, died from coronavirus on Tuesday evening. He joined the United States Air Force at 19 years old, spent his career in the military, 5.5 years off and on in combat in Vietnam. Charming and funny and natural leader. Of course, thoughts, with Senator Warren, her family. It's terrible, and it just goes to show you our elderly are the ones who are bearing the brunt of this. They're the ones who are bearing the brunt of this in China, around the world, and it's a very serious situation, and it can affect many people that we know and that we love.
Yeah, and you don't know what people are going through. I mean, Senator Warren has been doing her job, and many of us, we really had no idea that this was unfolding in their family, and certainly our prayers are with them. Maxine Waters' sister, also in critical condition right now, so prayers to them as well. At the same time, we're getting new numbers out of New York from a study of antibodies. Now, what this can tell you is if people were infected previously and have the antibodies in their system from coronavirus, which could mean that they are essentially inoculated from getting the virus. This particular test showed that about 21% of New York City residents may have these antibodies, which of course means that the infection was way more widespread and probably much earlier than we ever had any idea. Now, we've talked about these antibodies tests before.
Right. Some are not reliable.
Right, but apparently New York has been working to develop their own more accurate tests. So there's some reasons to believe that this testing regimen may have been more accurate than others that we've talked about before. So very interesting development there, and also dovetails with reporting we brought you about how, in fact, we are learning now that it is likely that the virus was spreading much earlier than we ever knew before.
Yeah, so this is the most important thing, which is if it turns out that coronavirus, much more widespread than possibly known, that affects the way that we think about who it can affect, the deadliness, the infection fatality rate, and many of the things around it, and that the caution that we have is based on the data that we have right now.
Right.
It actually just goes to show you that even with how many cases we just talked about worldwide, you just don't know that much about a novel coronavirus that just comes out of nowhere. We don't know about how long it's affecting. Some people have complications. It has interplay with the way that, heart disease and elderly population, men versus women. The antibodies is as close as we can possibly get. Or do we have herd immunity or not?
Right.
Some sort of, the widespreadness of the infection, and that can change the way that we think about it as a society.
Yeah,
so got to get our act together there.
Could mean if this result holds, could mean the death rate was actually much lower than we thought, but the infection spread much more widely than we thought. And all of those things contribute to when and how you can ultimately reopen safely and with confidence that you are not going to respread this into society.
So we got to speed up those testing. Kudos to New York State for doing that.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching our crisis update today. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back here on Monday.